Hello, everyone, and welcome to another recap race analysis of the Cycling Dane Extra channel on the Cycling Dane podcast. As always, I'm joined by Patrick Blake of Ado Cycling as we go through stage 19 of the Giro d'Italia. And I mean, Patrick, what exactly happened on the day?
So stage 19 of the Giro d'Italia took us from Biella to Polluc. Pretty much, people were saying probably the queen stage of this race. It includes the most climbing of any of the stages, including 3 Category 1s, Category 3 and a Category 2. We saw a large breakaway forming kind of on the first Category 3 climb, but it was really on the Col Sicur where to kind of whittle down. We saw Mats Pedersen, Wout van Aert, and a whole swath of riders really. Nobody really in the GC threat though, where it was given somewhere around 3 minutes-ish by the peloton, which has been led by UAE Team Emirates. We see Scaroni taking some KOM points. And then I can't remember who won the intermediate sprint, but I think Pedersen had mathematically locked that in. And also Fortunato has locked the KOM classification, so long as they both finish, pretty much. Then we go on the Col Saint-Pantaleon, and this is where things really started to whittle down. We're seeing, the group start to get smaller. We're seeing Bilbao, Tiberi, Prodom, Arieta, Verona, obviously, who's already won a stage. They start to go clear on this climb, 16.5 kilometers at 7.2%. Nothing really much happens here, apart from we just get a whittling down of, Prodom, Verona, Tiberi, kind of get over the top first with Arieta, and it just kind of whittles down a little bit more. But on the Col de Joux, on the Col de Joux, this is where things started to kind of really kick off in the GC fight behind. Already at this point, Pidcock's been dropped. Max Poole is in difficulty as well. Adam Yates, who's in 10th in GC, he started to drop off the back as well. We see Prodom launch an attack. Verona and Tiberi can't follow that, so Prodom goes solo for pretty much the last half or last third of the Col de Joux. In the GC group, we see Carapaz launching attack. We see Pellizzari trying as well, but nothing really stuck with the control of Micah and McNulty for Del Toro. Nothing really was allowed to slip clear. But we see Prodom go clear solo over the top of a Col de Joux with roughly a minute. On the descent, though, this starts to balloon out, and it becomes pretty clear that UAE are quite happy for the stage win to go and those bonus seconds to be taken away. So they're setting a pretty chill pace with Micah and then with McNulty as well. However, towards the top of the last climb, the Category 2, where it's a little bit steeper, we see Carapaz launch an attack. Del Toro's in the wheel, but nobody else is able to follow that point. That means that, Simon Yates and Derek G, who are also high up in GC, they are losing out at time at this point. They're looking around. Eventually, it's Tiberi and Derek G who kind of worked on the front to try and limit the losses, but Carapaz and Del Toro are putting 20, 30 seconds into them at this point. They're at the top of this Category 2, and it's pretty much just a descent to the line. Meanwhile, up ahead, Nicolas Prodom is going through the small kind of mountain top village town, and he manages to take the victory for, the last time he won was in the Tour of the Alps. So it was a really incredible victory for him. Apparently his favourite race is Il Lombardia, so it's great that he, gets a win in Italy in its biggest race. Behind, we're seeing Carapaz and, pretty much Carapaz is just working on the front. Del Toro sat on the wheel, but Del Toro rolls in for the delta of 2 bonus seconds going towards Del Toro. But for the overall top 10, we see for the day that Prodom wins after being in the breakaway all day. Huge effort from him. Del Toro in second, then Carapaz, Caruso, McNulty, Bernal, Simon Yates, Rafa Micah, Antonio Tiberi in 9th after being in the breakaway, and then Aina Rubio in 10th place. We see a bit of a weird crash in the final corner. There was a corner with 50 meters. Pellizzari went down. I don't think it was that serious, but I'm not sure if he'll be given the same time as that group or not at the moment. I think he is going to be given the same time as Caruso. Yeah, pretty much not that much happened overall. Of Del Toro and Carapaz gain, 24 seconds plus their bonus seconds on the other GC favourites. So the overall GC for the day now means that Del Toro leads 43 seconds on Carapaz, and then they a minute 21 on Simon Yates, 2.5 minutes to Derek G. So it's all to play for tomorrow, the Col de Finestre.
Yeah, where the Chima Coffee is as well. What did you make of, Nicola Prodom? We should probably just start with him. I was going to jump straight into Isaac Del Toro, but let's just give the plaudits. It looked at one point that Breakaway wasn't gonna stay away, but then a bit of help from UAE Team Emirates. What do you make of Decathlon AG2R's Giro d'Italia? I mean, this must be a saving grace for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think their team was very orientated towards the sprints with Sam Bennett, who, no offense, I haven't really seen head or tail of in the sprints. They lost Bouchard on the first stage in that crash where Landa also DNF'd. So pretty much Prudhomme has been their only card, I suppose, for the mountain breakaways. And he has been trying, and now he kind of gets his just rewards for that. I guess Dries de Bont has also been in the breakaway trying to fight for some intermediate sprint competition, I think, against Pedersen. I'm not even sure which sub-classification of, classification that is, but it's some intermediate sprint thing. So de Bont's been doing that, but yeah, generally Decathlon hasn't had that much out of a race. So it's really great that they finally, stage 19, better late than never, get their stage win.
Yeah, that's true. What do you make of, well, there were so many things happening in terms of the GC before kind of their attacks happening in terms of the team's pacing. I don't know about you, but I thought Visma Lisa bike were quite strange today. They were doing a lot of pacing, but if you're doing that, you're thinking, okay, your guy has diamond legs, but that wasn't the case. When the attacks really came, Yates was nowhere, and yeah, a bit of a shame, really. I think his podium position is definitely probably locked in if he just manages to stay clear of Derek G tomorrow, but I don't think he's winning this, if I'm honest. And Visma Lisa bike, I don't really know what they were doing, but they tried. We have to say that.
Yeah, I'm not really sure they knew what they were doing. I swear, even on the commentary, I think Adam Blythe went up to them on his motorbike, and he was like, "What's the plan?" And I swear they even said we don't really know, basically, and it's just the legs will be how the legs will be later on. So I'm not sure what their plan was. They got riders in the break, and Bart Lemon was looking fantastic today, and he did some really strong pulls. But yeah, it was a bit strange, I admit. I guess you sort of have to try something on such a difficult day, but you could say, the terrain and the fact that UE had multiple riders, it just wasn't, the final category 2 wasn't that hard, so it wasn't that enticing for attacks, but saying that Carapaz made it work. So I'm not really sure what went wrong really with Simon Yates. I would have thought he would have followed or been able to follow, but it was a super hot day, to be fair, really attritional, not just the climbing but the heat as well. You saw lots of riders struggling with the heat, so there's a lot of factors going on there, and it's very easy, I guess, to say what were they doing, but I guess they tried something. It just didn't work, and maybe just a purer big one mountain kind of finish tomorrow will be a little bit simpler and less strategy involved.
Yeah, for sure. And it is a shame that Kelderman and Kruijswijk aren't peak Kelderman and Kruijswijk, because I think they would be ripping up the race if that was the case. But I mean, UAT members, Isaac Del Toro, do you think Isaac Del Toro has won the Giro now?
No, I don't think no, I think Carapaz is looking super dangerous. He's not giving in at all, is he? Even today on a category 2 climb, which averages 5% which doesn't really scream this is going to be a decisive climb or a place to really get loads of time, because the draft benefit and the speed these guys can go up 5% is ridiculous. So I think Carapaz, he's going to throw it all at Del Toro tomorrow. I mean, he's got, a 43-second gap. The Finestre is an absolute beast, isn't it? We're talking, isn't it 19k, 20k, something like that? Averages 9%. There's a gravel bit in there. It's difficult to say because Del Toro was kind of cracking the other day, and it looked like that was him done. But then the last couple of days, he's looked much better. So it's difficult to get a read on him as to how he's actually sort of going. I'm not sure whether we're going to get a crack from Del Toro tomorrow or not. I think that Carapaz, though, with his experience and just generally his tenacity for attacking, is going to be, it's going to be an interesting show, if nothing else.
Yeah, we saw, I don't know if you want to talk about Tom Pidcock, but the wheels came off a bit from the GC again. and Max
Yeah,
Poole. So it's a bad day for Yorkshire.
I know it's a really bad day. I'm very upset. I still, and I'm sure a lot of us are still confused as to why Pidcock has been beating this dead pony of GC, trying to drag his way inside the top 10. When, I mean, even somebody like Tiberi, let's take as an example, he finished ninth today, and he's not inside the top 10 in GC, but he's moved up quite a few places because he was in the breakaway and he managed to get ahead of that GC fight. Like, Pidcock was further down in GC than Tiberi, I think, so I don't get why, or maybe he has been trying to get in the breakaway, I just haven't been looking, but I think we all expected Pidcock to be a bit more of a breakaway guy in this race rather than slogging it out for GC. So it's a little bit disappointing to see that this is the way that he's like rides Grand Tours. Outside of that one outdoors victory, we don't really see him as a breakaway guy, and he just seems to really want to be a GC rider for some reason. But who knows why?
Yeah, bit of a shame. What could have been a stage or two would have been massive for the team, but yeah, it didn't quite happen. In that top 10, who's kind of looking strong for you? Pellizzari was looking strong, and then obviously that weird moment that you were saying. But yeah, it's an interesting top 10 with a lot of riders that could maybe move up one or two places. I don't know if Derek G, he's very strong as well. We have to give him a mention. But looking at the top 10, who do you think has a chance to move up or even down?
I would say, yeah, Pellizzari, I think, could move up ahead of Bernal because he's got a 33-second gap to Bernal. And generally, I think Pellizzari is just looking a bit better than Bernal. And just looking at where they're positioned in the group, Bernal's constantly at the back of the group. It makes me feel like he was just a little bit more of a limit than Pellizzari. And even when you just take into account that Pellizzari actually attacked and Bernal didn't. So I think that Pellizzari might have a good chance of moving up. I guess it depends on if Bernal cracks, then maybe Rubio could move ahead as well. Storer and McNulty, I mean, they've got quite a gap to Rubio in 8th, so I'm not really sure. I don't think they will be doing that much. And then other than that, yeah, I don't know. Caruso would have to do something pretty extraordinary to get a minute on G. Simon Yates would then have to lose a minute to G to kind of lose that place. Carapaz, I don't see losing out to Yates. I think generally things will stay relatively status quo. The things which I'll be looking out for is Pelzari moving ahead of Bernal and maybe Carapaz moving ahead of Del Toro. But I think everything else might remain relatively similar. What do you reckon, Bern?
Yeah, I think that's quite a fair assessment. But Del Toro looks so strong. I don't see him cracking. And with that gravel as well, you're like, oh, gravel. He's on 21-year-old. He also finished second in Classica High He also was good in Star Bianchi. He was also second in the Star Bianchi stage in the Giro. So I don't think gravel actually threatens him. He's former cyclocross rider. So yeah, who do you think is going to win tomorrow?
It just looks like Carapaz probably will do.
You think Carapaz is winning the stage? Okay.
Yeah, I think Carapaz could take this.
Oh,
I'm
shebang.
not. He could do. I think we're rather slightly annoyed surprised that obviously they descend off of the Col de Finestre and then they go up another small climb afterwards. So they need to attack on the Finestre pretty much. But I don't think we've seen Carapaz cracking at all this race, and he just seems like the momentum's really in his favor. I just don't think today was really designed for attacking so much. I feel like tomorrow is just a harder climb. I think it's Carapaz's sort of territory, although he generally tends to do better on stages where there's multiple climbs and a bit more attrition going on and more fatigue in the legs. An absolute kind of watts per kilo test up for Nestle might not be his kind of preferred GC battle, but we'll have to wait and see. I think it's super close, and if the organisers wanted a scenario going into the big kind of major climb of the race, this is it.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think anyone's going to crack tomorrow in that top 10 completely?
Maybe Bernal.
Yeah.
I have. He's kind of been yo-yoing off the back a little bit on some of these climbs, and yes, I have a less faith, I think, in him. But I think you got, I mean, maybe Derek G. I guess maybe Caruso's very experienced. Caruso could move up to fourth on a very good day, especially with more support from Tiberi, who did look a lot better today than he has done over previous days. But I don't see many major cracks going on tomorrow.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping for more cracks. I want drama, but maybe that's not going to happen. Anyways, with that, that's basically it for this recap race analysis of stage 20. No, 19. That was wishful thinking. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what you thought of the stage. And make sure to check out Patrick's own channel, I'll Do Cycling, which is also going to be very interesting now because there's a lot of races going on. Tour of Norway, Boucle de Mayenne, Tour of Albania, Tour of Iran, all of these things are happening right now, and the Giro d'Italia. But anyways, with that, thank you very much for watching, and we will see you tomorrow for stage 20.